Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome to a new series of Stellaris. Paradox have been very kind to offer me an advanced key for the new MegaCorp DLC that is due on the 6th of December. So I'm going to take a dive in and have a look at some of the changes this DLC makes to the game. As usual with Paradox patches, not only does the DLC contain paid content, but it releases side by side with a free patch, which is the 2.2 Guin patch, and that actually contains some quite sweeping changes to the way this game actually works, and I really want to have a look at those. So this probably isn't going to be a full playthrough. It's mostly just going to be jumping in and having a look at these changes and having a play around with them, see how they affect the game, and see what they add. So we're going to go in and start a new game. And one thing that I am going to do, you'll notice that we have a couple of new races in here. We've got these mega corporations, we've got the Chinor Combine, we've got the Orbis customer synergies. There might even be a couple more in there somewhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the races that I'd had before, and I'm going to go and edit them up a little bit, just so that we've got something new we can do. There is some stuff in here that I want to show you. So first of all, advisor voices. There are 3 new voices that have been added for the MegaCorp's advisors. We have got to find them all now, the Ruthless Conglomerate.
As the learned say, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is also mine.
Which is quite cool. There's the Slick Corporation.
Don't let the baseless accusations of wrongdoing fool you. Our competitors is simply projecting their own insecurities. Here at MegaCorp, we always put your future first.
And we have the Worker.
Workers of the galaxy, unite. You have nothing to lose but your restraining fields.
So I quite like all of them. I probably prefer the Ruthless Conglomerate, but they're all kind of cool. So looking at our species, and got to find it now. It's been a while since I played, so I'm very, very rusty. I'm going to leave everything else as it is, but government and ethics, you will now find that there is this new corporate here. Holds an election every 20 years to select a new ruler. Administrative cap is +20. Empire size penalty is +50. So you're kind of punished for growing. We have to go and take these away so we can select all of this. And we just go and select corporate. So when we select corporate, you'll see that we have a completely different list of civics over here. So let's go ahead and pick what we want to be. Well, we probably want to be a materialist. Or we could even just be a fanatical materialist. Maybe. Are we bothered about robots? We don't want to be a xenophile, because we do want to be able to trade with other nations. I don't want to be a spiritualist. I think I'm just going to go for... yeah, let's just go for fanatic militarist. And fanatic materialist. And we'll put one into egalitarian as well. So let's go ahead and pick our civics. Brand loyalty gives us some monthly unity. Criminal heritage. Cannot form commercial pacts. Cannot join federations. Can build branch offices on the planet of any regular empire they have no war or active truce with. Crime on branch offices planets increased branch office value. So branch offices are something new that are added that we'll have a look at. We've got franchising. The effects of the subsidiary subject power on relations is reduced by 33%, and the impact on branch offices on our empire size is decreased by 25%. Free traders gives +10% trade value. So trade routes are something new that have been added in this DLC. And branch office trade value. Media Conglomerate gives -5% war exhaustion gain and +5% citizen pop happiness. Private Prospectors unlocks a new ship type, which is a private colony ship, and also gives us +20 administrative cap. Ruthless Competition, which gives us an extra leader level cap and 10% leader experience gain. And Trading Posts gives us an extra 4 starbase capacity. We've also got the Gospel of the Masses. Requires some degree of spiritualist, which gives us spiritual ethics attraction +50%. This one requires authoritarian, which would give us +10% slave output. And then we've got one that requires militarist, which gives us naval cap. We've got one that requires... oh, another one that requires militarist. I quite like the idea of trading posts for more starbase capacity. And I also like the idea of free traders to get more trade value. So I think we're going to go with that. And that's how we are going to roll. Let's make sure we've got the... we could have the worker, but I want the Ruthless Conglomerate. So in we go. I'm going to leave everything else as is. I'm not going to change anything. This is just a race that I made in a multiplayer game that I was messing around with. So we've got our new race. Did I save that? Can't remember if I did. Yep, saved it successfully. Hit done. And we can go ahead and start our new game. I'm going to leave everything on the default settings. And here we are. Now, I am going into this blind. I have fired it up once and had a look at the new user interface, because you'll notice that has changed quite a lot. But I haven't actually played any of the game. So the first thing that you're going to notice is the UI has changed quite a bit. At the top here, we actually have some new icons. So we've got energy, minerals, and food, as before. We also now have consumer goods. Consumer goods were always present in Stellaris, but they were very much an abstracted resource that you never actually saw. So consumer goods were required by your population, and it was basically something that made your population happy. Depending on your particular government type and your population, they would require more or fewer consumer goods. But consumer goods are now actually a commodity that can be quantified and traded. We also have alloys, which is a new type of resource, and they're actually needed to construct ships and star bases. So 2 new resources there. Influence and unity, that has not changed. We've got our science output here, which we can actually click to expand and see them individually. We have all of our available strategic resources. And then we can see our empire size, our systems, our colonies, our population. You'll notice our population is already 28. And that's another big change that has been made. And we have starbase capacity and naval capacity up here. We've got this nice menu on the left-hand side, which shows you all of the options. If we mouse over it, it will pop out to expand. If you don't like that popping out, you can actually lock it closed, which is kind of cool. One thing I am a little bit surprised is you can't lock it in the open state. Bear in mind, I am playing a pre-release version of the DLC, so if there are any bugs or issues, they may be changed by the time it actually releases. There's also this new button down here. Oh, trade routes map mode. There we go. I hadn't actually seen that before. So there is an actual map mode for trade routes. So your trade capital is your sort of starting planet, really. You will also notice we can see trade value is another thing that actually appears on your home planet. So that is something that we'll look at as we get there. Some of the bigger changes that you will have noticed. First of all, you have this market here. So the market essentially allows you to trade in your various resources. So you've got energy credits, you've got minerals, you've got food, you've got alloys, and you've got consumer goods. They can all be bought or sold for energy credits, and the value of them changes depending on how many are being bought and sold. We can actually set up trades to happen automatically. So if we're producing an awful lot of one particular resource and very little of another, we can set up automatic monthly trades to do it for us without us having to manually do that. The galactic market has not yet been founded, so we only have access to an internal market. Once the internal market is founded, you actually have access to a slave market as well, so you can buy and trade slaves. But probably the single biggest change in this expansion, and this is also part of the free patch, the 2.2 Guin patch, is the way population works. So if we just click on our main planet here, and you'll notice that this interface has changed a lot. So gone now are all of the individual planet slots. So the original Stellaris used to use what I call the civilization system. I think Civilization was the first game to use it, but many 4X games do it in a very, very similar way, which is where you have a population, That population expands using surplus food of some kind, and you have a number of tiles which produce various resources. You then assign population to those tiles and claim the resources that they produce. So they've now got rid of the individual resource tiles, and what we have is a number of districts. So you can see our maximum district on this planet, we can have 11 districts. We've got our city district here. So there's 4 different types of districts. There's the city district, and then you've got generator districts, which produce mainly energy. You've got mining district, which produces mainly minerals, and you've got the agricultural district that produces mainly food. And as you can see, it says there, technicians produce energy credits, miners produce minerals, and farmers produce food. The city district, we have clerks. They produce trade value and amenities. Amenities are used for happiness. So if we actually click on one of these, we can get details about the district, we can see what its upkeep is, and we can see what its output is. So its upkeep is 2 credits, but it provides 2 energy credits, but it also provides 5 housing, and it produces 1 clerk job. We also have the different districts here. Now you can see we've got multiple generator districts. So we can have a maximum of 6 generator districts here, which is indicated by these empty yellow cells. One of them is filled because we are using 1 of the possible 6 we can have. Now it says we can have 2 additional generator districts, but we have blockers. So blockers now don't appear on individual tiles. Blockers are planet-wide. So you can see down here we have 3 blockers. We have 2 industrial wastelands and 1 sprawling slums. If we click on that, we can see them over here on the right, and they will tell us what they are blocking. So max agricultural districts +2, and this one is gives us an extra pop. So we want to try and clear these as we go. And that will unlock the extra 2 slots where we can build more generator districts. We are using 2 of a maximum 6 mining districts, and we are using 2 of a current maximum 7, but potentially maximum 9 agricultural districts. And again, those are being blocked by the tile blockers. So this industrial wasteland is blocking agricultural districts. This industrial wasteland is blocking the generator districts. If I clear both of those, we will have these slots free. And that will then allow us to, if we wish to, build additional districts. Now those districts provide jobs, and if we go over here to the population tab, you can see that we have workers, specialists, and rulers, and these different populations produce different types of resources. So our rulers produce for us unity. They also have they produce pretty much just unity. They require food, and they require consumer goods. Our specialists are people like our researchers that are producing science output. They also produce minerals. They do produce some unity as well, but they also, and they produce consumer goods, but they actually require consumer goods, minerals, and food in upkeep. And then finally, we've got our workers. Our workers produce food, minerals, and energy, but they do still have a food and consumer goods upkeep. So these jobs, the jobs that are available, are based on the number of districts you have. There are still some specialist buildings that can be built in these slots. These slots unlock with population. So our current population is 28. When we hit population 30, this one will unlock. We've got 1 extra building that we can put in here. And these are pretty much like the original buildings that you could build on tile slots. They all give a specific benefit. The armies panel hasn't changed a huge amount. There's also the corporate tab here, which we cannot currently use, but this allows you to build these corporate offices on other planets. We can't build them on our own. So let's go ahead and basically get this game started. I'm going to start by queuing up our tech. You will notice that some of the techs have changed because of the way resources work and growth works. These techs have now changed. Let's go straight in and get that quantum theory, because we will get extra physics research from researchers. Let's work on that one. Now you can't realise we're making no current progress. We want our society research. Let's go ahead and just try and get the extra speed on all of them if we can. I mean, that just seems sensible. Getting that extra minerals would be nice, but let's just go ahead and get all of that. We will unpause the game. We have our usual ships here. We have our science ship. So our science ship needs to go off and do some exploration. Let's go off and start by surveying this system here. And we have our construction ship that is probably going to be required to grab some resources. We're getting the minerals from there. Let's go, and we don't have an awful lot of energy coming in, so we're probably going to send our construction ship over here, and we will build a mining station. I haven't paused the game. We are running on normal speed. So we will start to work out what we are doing. We do have a little fleet, which we will need to build up as well. So one thing we probably want to do is get our energy up as quick as possible. There we go. Energy's coming in. It's actually now 30. Maybe that was just something that wasn't being tallied up correctly. Because that was showing 0. It's now just gone up to 30. That's great. We will go ahead and build some more mining stations. It's always sensible to get as many as you can in your home system anyway. So we'll definitely grab those extra credits. Now, there are some new megastructures as well. Unfortunately, we can't see the list of them here. Trying to remember what megastructures there are. There is one of them is a military megastructure, which I believe increases the number of star bases you can have. One of them is a space art installation, which I think increases Empire happiness. And another one is some sort of mining station that you can build on a black hole, which produces extra resources. So everything is sort of still happening. Yep, good. There is also a new planet type that mega corporations can build called
we built something.
An ecumetropolis, which basically means if you have a planet with a big enough population, you can turn it into a huge city planet, which looks quite cool. I'd like to get around to building that. Let's go ahead if we can afford to, and we will build our mining station here. We're a little bit broke, so we need to wait till the end of the month. And where are we? Come on. There we go. Let's go and build that mining station. How are we getting on with surveying over here? Getting around to it. So one thing I do like about Stellaris is that Stellaris was always sold as being a mix between your classic 4X games like Civilization, like Galactic Civilizations, and a mix between grand strategy games like Europa Universalis 4 and Crusader Kings 2, Victoria, and things like that. I always found when it first came out that it felt like it was much more of a... It felt like it was just much more of a 4X with a bit extra. But it does feel like it is going more towards that... grand strategy genre now, which I do really like. Discovery of alien life. Gain some society research. Excellent. So that will speed things up there a little bit. Are we still surveying that? Yes, we are. Another thing that I like that Paradox have been doing with Stellaris is that when they find a system that doesn't work particularly well, instead of just piling more and more stuff on top of it to make it work, which is kind of what they have been doing with EU4 and stuff like that, they actually just completely rework systems. The way that space exploration and space travel works is now completely different to the way it was before, where you used to have warp travel, hyperlanes, and wormholes. You now just use the hyperlanes, and all of the other ones are like additional techs you can get later on. They changed the way that naval combat works, and they've now changed the way that planet population works. So they do keep sort of tweaking things to get them working right. Same with expansion as well. Now that you have to build these little outposts in order to claim an individual planet or an individual system, as opposed to just having this sort of area of influence that spreads along the map. We're abuzz with the news of alien organisms discovered on planet some time ago. While far from intelligent, there is life out there. Yes, yes there is. So...
Construction complete.
Oh, that was very exciting. We could probably do with another science ship. We don't have an awful lot of income right now. We could probably... We've got a fair amount of energy racked up. It would be nice to get some more minerals. How about if we go ahead and look at our planet? And look at our planet summary. So we could go and build a mining district. Of course we could, if we could afford to build a mining district. So building a mining district will cost us 300 minerals. It has an upkeep of 1 energy, but it provides 2 housing and provides 2 mining jobs. So mining jobs, if we go over here and look at our workers, we want to have a look at this here. So mining jobs are currently only giving us 17.48 minerals per month. So there's a base. We get an extra 2% from our governor. We get an extra 4.8% from having high stability. And we get the plus 2.5% from our population being strong. So let's try and save up and do that if we can. We are still surveying down here. Yeah, an extra science ship early on is probably the best way to go. I am going to speed things up just a little bit while we're doing the surveying. Our construction ship isn't doing anything at the moment. We could be over here grabbing the engineering research, but I'm not certain that we want to rush into doing that. On the plus side, we are gaining additional alloys and additional consumer goods and additional food. And these are all things that if we start to reach the cap, we can just trade them for something else. So there is certainly a use for that. So there isn't an awful lot of good stuff here. There is a potentially habitable planet, which can have 12 districts. That's actually quite nice. It's a savannah world, so we would be happy there. We could go ahead and claim that planet, and that's probably not a bad idea. In the meantime, let's go ahead and continue exploring with the science ship. I'm a little bit torn now. Do I want to go ahead and... Where's my shipyard? We want to produce a colony ship. Now, colony ships no longer require minerals. They require alloys, they require consumer goods,
Log updated.
And they require food. Well, we can actually afford to do that. So let's go straight ahead and start by getting a colony ship and getting a second planet nice and early. Our construction ship's still not doing a lot right now. In fact, our construction ship will need to go over here because we will need to claim this system if we want to colonize it. So let's move the construction ship over there first. And all the while we are making some additional resources here. We are still running on fast, which is good. Isn't a lot of other useful stuff here, unfortunately. Right, you are going to... oh, so outposts now require alloys instead of minerals. Interesting. Well, we definitely want to build an outpost because we need to claim it. So we're just short a few alloys. We will need to wait a month or two for that. So while he's waiting on that one, let's go back to our home planet and let's try and get some more minerals. So we'll click on our mining district and we want to build another mining district.
Resource scan complete.
So we want to build. There we go. We are now building a mining district. We've got one mining district under construction. I'm going to get rid of some of those blockers later on. Now, there is a maximum number of districts that you can have. We can only have 10 districts on this planet, at least for the time being. So we have finished... What was completed? Something happened. Oh, the surveying is complete. Nothing particularly useful there. Let's go and survey that system. We now have the resources required to go and tag this. So let's get our construction ship to build the starbase, the outpost.
Construction complete.
It'll be nice when we actually meet our neighbours. Let's get the colony ship out here as well. When we meet our neighbours, we might be able to start setting up some trade routes, which is kind of cool. So these guys I've got, they are repugnant, so they get fewer amenities from jobs. They also get more expensive resettlement cost, and their population growth is a little bit slower. But their consumer goods upkeep is actually lower, and they're strong, which means their worker output is higher, and they are thrifty. So they get more trade value from jobs. we can pick a tradition. Now then, I don't think there are any new traditions, although some of the original ones may have changed. I always like discovery first. It's always nice to get that extra research speed. So let's go ahead with that. So we have this planet can support the construction of additional buildings. So we don't have to worry about unemployment, really. It doesn't really work that way anymore. Instead of having population you have to find jobs for, you build jobs to attract population. So this is another thing that you will now see on the interface. If we look at this, we can see amenities that show our citizen pop happiness. And we've got housing. Available housing is 7. 5 from buildings, 30 from districts. So that's obviously 35, and we're using 28, so it leaves us with 7. And the effects from free housing increases our immigration pull by 2%. So the more free housing you have, the more immigrants you're likely to get to come and move in on your planet. So our planet is actually only costing us -1 energy credits, and it's a net gain for everything else. There's probably some sort of building that we want to build. Obviously we've got things like luxury residences, which would just give us some more housing and more amenities. I'm guessing a lot of these things you probably only want to build if you need them. You don't just go, oh okay, let's just build everything we can. It says, okay, we've got a shortfall of something in particular, let's build something. Like we've got the cultural site. This gives us manager jobs. Managers turn consumer goods into unity, trade value, and society research. That could be quite useful. Let's go ahead and get one of those on the build. Just because, you know, we haven't done it already. Our construction ship is now finished. So we're just waiting for our colony ship, which is somewhere. And we want to go ahead and colonize this planet. We'll leave it with its original name. And while that ship is on its way over, I am going to end this video here. And when we come back next time, we will continue and discover some of the new features of Stellaris MegaCorp. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video, and until then, goodbye for now.